Hello, it's Vitualis the Chess Noob. I'm learning and having fun with chess. One of the systems I tend to play with white is the Vienna game. And the reason I love the Vienna game so much is that it tends to be unexpected by the opponent, and it can also lead to all sorts of wild early attacks. It's potentially a very tricky system for the opponent to navigate. And sometimes for the opponent, what are natural looking moves end up being some serious errors. And this is well exemplified by the game that I'm going to talk about today, which I played about a month and a half ago or so. So let's have a look at this game. So review first, and as you can see, I played this game fairly well. It's a fairly short game, as I said, only 8 moves. Chess.com reckons I have a brilliant move, and we'll see that move in the analysis. All right, so Vienna game, e4, e5, knight c3. The opponent here responds with knight c6, and when they respond in this way, so the Max Lang defense, the next good move is developing the bishop to c4. Now, in this game, the opponent decided to move their queen out early, which is not a good move. It is not a good move. Ostensibly, there may be some logic here. Potentially they could move their bishop out and attacking my weak f-pawn. But as we'll see, this is a highly problematic system for black. Now, I decided to move my queen out, sort of a cheeky sort of move. Now, obviously, that's not a great move, though not as bad as what it was for black. My logic here is that I'm potentially setting up an attack on the opponent's weak f-pawn. But also, if the opponent really wanted to trade queens, that was okay by me, as it would just help me develop. The opponent, I think, was potentially not really sure what to do with the move of their a-pawn. Maybe they were thinking of launching an attack on the bishop, but this was not a good response, as we can see. Now, in the Vienna, with the knight having developed to c3, queen moves to here are subject to the attack by the knight, and more importantly, the queen is no longer defending that c7 pawn. So that effectively forks the queen and that pawn, and with that pawn, the knight has an attack on the rook with check. So it's a very, very powerful move, and it is not uncommon in these situations for the opponent to mismove the queen afterwards. So I move my knight with the attack, as I said, on the queen and that pawn, and they make the wrong response. They make a wrong response, and this is a serious blunder. So practically I'm winning in this position, and the issue is with the queen trying to defend that pawn, it is no longer defending the king and that weak f-pawn. So it looks like, maybe they defended that pawn, but you can take anyway with the knight. And this is what chess.com called brilliant. And the reasoning for that is the queen cannot actually take that knight without giving in to checkmate. And so pretty much that rook is toast. Now, the opponent here makes a mistake, takes the knight, and that allows queen to f7 with check. The king is forced to move, and then one last move, checkmate. GG, a lovely game, and it just shows potentially how venomous the Vienna game can be. I hope you enjoyed, and maybe add the Vienna game to your repertoire as well.